On Saturdays?
No, apparently not. Chris was the spearhead coach.
360 days a year is enough.
Do you work on Sundays?
Yeah.
Chris Ballas speaks for the beginning.
So here I got the roster in front of me to make sure that I know everybody that we're playing against, because it is you turn around. What we always try and do after a game, even though we play in 2 games, is what can we learn from the Penn State game last night, and what can we show them on video. And you could show them 2 hours of clips, and we got to get it down to 40 minutes of clips so we can show 20 minutes of Indiana. And so that's the real challenge. And then about 3 hours ago, I went from improvement from last night to the Indiana game. So I get some brief thoughts, but not a whole lot. We'll experiment in the next couple of days and find out what we can do. We can't do too much today with those guys that played a lot of minutes. I got to get them back fresh, get their legs fresh again, because we usually go pretty hard the day before the game. So, but Indiana's going to give us great challenges. They're a nationally ranked team, and they've been really good in close games. We got impressive wins. Butler and Louisville with really impressive wins. Another one earlier, but like I said, I'm still learning a little bit about them. Got a really a more veteran team than you would think. They've had a great freshman recruiting class, and that's been banged up a little bit by injury. But they got 5 guys that have been around, either 5th-year guys or guys that are juniors, and that's rare today to have 5 guys that are juniors and seniors that are all going to play. And so it is. I think they're a veteran team with a tremendous freshman in Romeo Langford, and it's going to be a really challenge for us. It's going to be a charged up atmosphere, national TV again, and we'll have to play better probably than we did last night. But if we play defense like we did last night, we'll have a chance.
Chris?
You mentioned about the 2-point conversion rate for Penn State last night. What did you see on film?
Well, the 2-point conversion rate is a big Luke thing as well. And you can't take away everything from people. And we're taking away so many 3 points that part of that you might give up some 2 points. So I think a lot of it was Watkins went 5 for 5 down the stretch on John Teske. 5 for 5. Every shot was challenged. They were shots that we would say, you gonna make that shot, we'll take your head off to you. But we're not doubling onto you so that we can get somebody an open 3, because we had 2 40% guys out there. So I didn't feel like they had easy shots. They made really tough shots. And first half they didn't, second half they did. Fortunately, we could score enough.
And then what's the latest on Isaiah?
There doesn't seem to be any any damage, and now I think it's just trying to find out how to get some nerves are obviously being giving them pain, and so how's that happening, and how can we reduce it as quickly as we can? But obviously I don't know what if he would do much today. We'll try and go out today and get him to move around a little bit, and he'll be in therapy for the next 2 days.
Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, John, you mentioned how Jordan Poole has become kind of a marked man last night. What when he's seeing the kind of defenses they saw against Penn State, what do you think that's going to? What do you hope?
Well, that's a really great instruction point tonight for today in about 15 minutes, for him to look at how they played them, and then you have to look at this, and now this is the next progression. Is you have to play with your head up, and you realize who's around you, and they want me to go this way. Can I get the other way with one little fake? So I think these are the things that he's going to learn within his whole structure of, last year he was a complimentary guy, spacing the floor. Now with the ball in his hands, there's a whole bunch of different things, and so he'll learn a lot from the video, because he's really done a good job with some of that.
I guess what's the impact of that for guys like Iggy or John or Charles or anyone else?
Well, I think that I don't know if what the question would be.
Just like, sorry, as in if Poole's like getting denied or like seeing different looks, what does that open up for the rest of the offense?
Well, if that's certainly a possibility. I mean, we got 3 or 4 guys that we all can play through, and I guess it depends a lot on matchups, and it depends a lot on strategy. I'm hopefully that we can be in a situation when we can dial up several guys when we see matchups or trends in how they're playing us or who's got the hot hand. You know, that's a big thing. You know, there's been some wrath in that video room when Jordan Poole was wide open. People didn't find him. And, you know, he had a couple great finds yesterday, and those are things that he's just sort of got to continue to see too. But I think everybody benefits every time that player improves.
Josh?
If Isaiah is unable to go on Sunday, how does Brandon's role kind of change, if at all?
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot by surprise yesterday. So, I mean, we have a package that we want to put in for him today. We have a package if they're really small, and that would give Brandon problems right now if they went really small to play Charles and Jordan together at the forwards, and then Eli and Xavier or maybe David. So we got to be versatile and be ready for everything. But we have to have something ready for him. Last night it was so sudden. He had been on the the whole time he had been Stevens the whole week, right? And now all of a sudden he's in there guarding Stevens. But it was just to give Iggy a rest last night. Now if Iggy got in foul trouble, then he would have to play a longer time. But Iggy did a good job of staying out of it.
Ooh, here with John.
You mentioned John. Big picture, how has he responded to more being asked of him this year?
Well, and more is going to be asked. He had 2 great assists yesterday, and we got to throw the ball into him more to score, right? And he got a nice little left-handed hook, and then he had a couple passes when the ball got behind the defense. So that's something that we have to do more, and he's got to command it more. But he's got another gear. We all know that. He's got another gear, and we're trying to get it out of him because he can really impact the game when he's in full go. But he's, again, going from the same thing as Jordan Poole. You're going from a complimentary guy to a main guy in some situations. Everybody wanted that, and now you got to accept that responsibility and go after it. And go after it with a high IQ, too.
The middle with Jack.
John, Jordan was talking last night about the intensity the guys have been showing in practice.
Jordan was talking, wow. Amazing.
But no, he spoke about how, when they're going up against the scout team, they treat it as if it's the opponent, guys are locking up, things are getting really intense. So how do you find a balance for that when you're coming off these quick turnarounds where you only have about 48 plus hours in between games? Yeah,
today we'll actually do that, but none of those guys that played last night, except maybe Eli, will be in there. But it'll be intense. And what we've done is by putting David and Brandon on the scout team more, it's much more competitive. The other thing that's happening, Adrian and Colin are making great strides. They've been in Camp Sanderson now for 5 months, and you can see the difference with both those guys. And the game's slowing down for both of them. So what was used to be a scout team, it's a little bit of both. I think it used to be a scout team in November when the score would be, a quick scrimmage might be 15-4. Now it's 15-15. And it's getting closer and closer. And then once again, when David's out there, he can being guarded by Xavier, one of the best guarding point guards anywhere in the country. So this is all really good for us. And so that's all all part of it. So today we won't do a lot. Tomorrow will be full go, but we have to balance it. But today, I'll have them probably. We'll shoot some foul shots. We'll do the light shoot. I didn't like this. Yesterday we attracted crowds and we didn't hit the open man enough. That's one of the emphasis today. But it will be 10 minutes low key, get their body sweating.
Andrew?
Coach, you talk about how, you talk about freshmen, it's hard defensively to come in and play right away. I'm wondering when you're recruiting high school games to AAU, how hard is it to assess defense? That's like trying to assess, whether they can shoot it sometimes. You think, no, you don't. In AAU, they'll warm up for 5 minutes, and they're doing warm-ups, and they just ate at McDonald's, and now they're out doing warm-ups, and the big man is never going to get an outside shot, and we like shooting big men, right? He's never going to get a shot, and you say, okay, can he shoot? Well, he was 0 for 1 in the game, and it's very similar to defense. You don't know what the plan is. The poor coaches sometimes, you don't have enough time. The guys practice once. The defensive transition plan is this: get back. That's the plan. And figure it out. And that's the plan. And you don't know who can even think it. That's really hard because you'll get guys and you'll know just like they don't understand offense sometimes, they can't understand a switch. I've had guys in their junior year, they still were blowing up switches. So it is really hard to do, but we have to just sort of figure it out. That's why we're so slow in recruiting.
I think in a conversation with them, and it's not always perfect, in my office, in the conference room, just talking basketball, I can get an idea where they know what's going on a little bit.
Okay, and then back to the Livers, has he had back spasms?
Not that I recall, no. No, I don't. Maybe there's something up back there somewhere, but you know, he had the sprained ankle, you know, in the summer or in the spring that bothered him, and so I do not expect this to be long term. Like I said, nothing came up that said, wow, it might be a bigger problem. But as a guy who actually missed a college game, missed a game as a coach one time, and with a bad back, I know where that can be.
Have you seen him yet today, Isaiah?
Have not. He's been out in the training room all day, or all morning.
Did you get an explanation on the tap out on the shot clock?
Yeah, he was a controlled tap,
okay.
and it happened to them later on.
Okay.
When I thought there was 4 seconds on the clock, and I look around and I was drawing a 4-second play up that they know, and then they said, Coach, we got 30 seconds, and it was late in the game. But it was he said it was actually controlled, so I'd never seen that, and then it happened twice in a game that it was actually under control. So one was sort of I got it and I threw it and I'm standing out of bounds, and that's why it reset. The other one, he actually just batted the ball, but they said it was controlled. And I think it's probably the right call. A controlled tap.
Okay.
James?
John, I know none of us are doctors, but do you guys have any idea what's causing Isaiah's back spasms?
No, you know, I'll tell you what's caused it with me is tight hamstrings. But I don't think he has those. And just, you know, it could be anything where he lives in the dorm and we have him in a hotel right now over the Christmas break. Could be the way he's sleeping. Who knows what it is? So nothing happened in practice that sort of brought this up.
Okay, going through a situation like this, I mean, help the team test your guys' mettle.
Yeah, I mean, we have no choice right now to make it a positive. We've been so blessed. If you look at this Indiana team and how they've been decimated by injuries, and they're still, you know, tremendous. We only got 2 losses, and they've been crushed. They have 4 or 5 injuries, and you know how we've been some years. So we've been blessed. So if this is our only injury all year, like same time Mo Wagner had the sprained ankle last year for 2 games, made Teskey better. Well, somehow this is going to, you know, make somebody better or make us experiment maybe. Maybe this whole idea of Brandon playing more or Charles playing as a 4-man and really sizing down could make us even better.
Mention health. First off, like, how are you doing now since the beginning of the season?
Want me to give you 15 push-ups right now? I know you didn't do it. I couldn't do any push-ups for a while. I'm back doing it. I feel really good. I'm really good.
Thanks, John.
But thanks for asking. Appreciate it.
Back to Jacob.
Yeah, John, what do you think are the adjustments you have to make facing a guy like Mike Watkins on Thursday and then going to facing Juwan Morgan Sunday?
Yeah, you know what he is you watch these guys over 4 years, and he was a guy that you could see had great potential, a little heavier, you know, as a freshman, and then he scored some tough buckets against us last year, and now he's shooting threes and shooting at a high, you know, he's making 1 a game and at a high percentage. So it's the typical progression. If a kid has a good attitude, you have really good skill development coaches, and I think he's had great coaches there all 4 years, different coaches, but great coaches, and he's gotten better. He's just gotten better, and that doesn't always, that you'd like to think that happens, it doesn't always happen. And many people will give credit to the coach that they got why the guy got better, or they'll give credit, or they'll give blame the coach if he didn't. Most of the time, it's about the kid. They have to want it, and they got to really love getting better and better as a player and put the time in.
How do you think you match up against him?
He's playing a 5-man more. Last year he played a lot of the 4-man. I have to watch more of him. He's really good. I don't think he's a good matchup for anybody. He's good.
Nick, do you want to close this out?
John, I know you might not have a choice if you're shorthanded with Iggy's minutes. I don't think it's like Traver freshman minutes or maybe Glenn, but they're getting up there. It's January, or do you sense that you can handle all that?
No, now that you mentioned it, I probably should be, but he's, you know, it's different than a point guard and a center playing those minutes, because there is a lot of times he's standing in the corner spacing. So I think he does do that. But in certain games, challenges, what I really like right now is that he has been grinding out defensively, and he has made foul shots and big threes at the end of games after playing 30 to 40 minutes, 2-3 minutes to go in the game, he's buried his foul shots and made huge threes. So especially I think it was the Binghamton game, maybe he just made big threes. And last night, I mean, we were up by 9, 2 minutes to go, but basically put the game away and it was great. So I think he's really a tough kid, and I think that he's in really good shape and he takes care of himself. I think he's here now.
He's a year older too, is it?
Yeah, he's a year older. He's a 14 or 16 months older than Colin Castleton, right? He's got a really young birthday. But he's like, if he would have been here last year as a freshman, he would have been older than Jordan Poole was, because Jordan has a summer birthday as well. The 17-year-old kids you get, most of them in Canada, they stay that extra year. So it's really helped him prepare him. His body is ready. So it all worked out.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks everyone.